Go.
Hi, friends. This is Unwritten Rules of the Road. I am Tosh, and I am joined today by the incredible Julian Shaw-Taylor. Julian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. We've known each other, I guess, for a long, long time, and I'm thrilled that you're doing this because you've had a lot of my favorite artists and friends on already, so that's great.
We were just chatting about what a small world it is, and I really love that about the art and music world is that you either end up collaborating with each other or you have like very small degrees of separation.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, as they say.
Yes. And how many degrees of Bowie?
Oh, 1 degree of Bowie to everybody. He was everything to everyone, I think.
Oh my gosh. Like truly such an inspiration. So, for those of you who are new to Julian, Julian inhabits many worlds, many projects. I first encountered Julian as he was performing as part of a David Bowie tribute band. And really blew my mind. Like, really incredible voice, performer. And I was actually,
You're
yes,
making me
yes.
blush.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's all true.
I like blushing. It's fine. You can go on.
It's I was actually wondering if and I heard you discuss this actually in another interview, but you were talking about the difference between a cover band versus a tribute band, and I thought this was fascinating because when I watched your performance, like it really did feel like you were channeling Bowie. And so if you could share with us the difference.
So a cover band generally plays the songs of multiple artists, does not make any attempt to resemble the artist in any way, and maybe sings, if you sing Bowie in the voice of Jeff Buckley, that's not a tribute, that's a cover. If you sing in a somewhat similar voice, which arguably people have told me I have a similar voice to his, although I listen to myself and I think, nah, there are plenty of people who have a better, more similar voice, but that's fine. I'll take it. And sometimes I sort of make some kind of effort to resemble the artist in question, which means wearing the clothing that they might have worn, and that's a tribute band. A cover band will generally cover multiple artists and not resemble one specifically. That's the difference.
I really love like the theatricality about it.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering, did you just study like different videos and like watch his performances and that's how you learned how to emulate?
To be perfectly honest, no, not a bit. I mean, I've grown up, obviously, as we all have, in our scene with Bowie videos, and sort of, mostly sort of he does epitomize the sort of cool of rock and roll. He's not a David Lee Roth. He's a kind of arty, cool version of that style of performance. And he was also, I guess, because of his mime background, he would make vast movements and stuff like that. And I come from a similar sort of background. I mean, I've danced professionally and I watched a lot of his thing. So I've never emulated him completely, but I have taken some signature moves like the Archer, for example. I mean, people who know Bowie know these photographs. So I'll do the, it's mainly from the photographic record. If there's a sign that he would use in some sense, I'll use that. But as far as I don't deliberately emulate him. It kind of comes naturally. So it doesn't feel to me, I mean, I watch some Bowie tributes and I'm not going to disrespect anybody who chooses to honor the master, right? But some of them you can tell they're sort of deliberately emulating and it feels a bit forced. And I
Mm.
really try my hardest not to be that because I don't really like that. And so if it comes naturally to me, I'll do it. And if it feels right at the moment, I'll do it. But I don't choreograph to match. I mean, there's certain moves, as I say, I have borrowed things from the 80s floor show, but mostly not.
I think maybe that's why it feels so natural when you're performing.
Well, I mean, it does, as I say, it comes as it comes. It doesn't. I haven't got one song that is attached to one movement or anything like that.
Hmm.
And vocally, sometimes I will differentiate in my mind between a Ziggy vocal and a Black Star vocal, because obviously there was a massive progression from that nasal high tone to the crooner depth that he attained. And I try my best to, obviously I'm getting on there myself, so that the early energetic nasal glam is a little bit of a reach for me compared to the later crooner thing. I mean, I've got the range, but you know, it's a different approach. So sometimes is the answer.
Yes. I know that you are, well, you just released Wild as the Winds,
Mm-hmm.
and you just had a show. I was curious if you could share like your inspiration behind the Station to Station project that you're exploring.
I mean, to me, that is, I mean, obviously Bowie has a lot of high points and it's difficult to choose a favorite album. But the one that when I heard, I think there were three transition points for me, because with Bowie, when I came to him initially was obviously in the 80s when you couldn't escape. It was endemic. It was on every show. He was being talked about. It was this image of this guy with blonde bouffant hair, and he was, you know, very thin, wearing those kind of really tailored suits, which was the antithesis of what I was interested in at the time. I was much more a Doors guy. I wanted
Hmm.
that, you know, romantic poetry of Rambo and all that stuff. And I studied philosophy at university. So Bowie was always that guy who really didn't represent me at all. And it was blues, because, you know, China Girl and Modern Love, even all of that stuff, it's blues based, which was not something I was that interested in. It was then I sort of like retroactively through a friend explored more of his work. And when I heard Time was the first one that turned my head, because
Hmm.
Time live on the Glass Spider tour, he was descending from a spider on the phone singing the song Time, and that song really got me because it's kind of vaudeville and it's really, you know, Cabaret by Liza Minnelli. I was like, that could have come from Cabaret soundtrack. So I was really intrigued by that. But when I heard Station to Station for the first time in all its glory, the 3-part epic, and you know, the 7-minute intro, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the same chords for 7 minutes, sound effects and the same riff. I was really intrigued. And then I explored the rest of the album, and the rest of that album and his persona at the time, this icy, cool, thin white Duke persona, kind of crossed the streams into the goth interest that I had,
Hmm.
because I'm a Cure fan, and Suede was another big band for me, the London Suede, as you know them in America. And all of that super cool lighting, the cheekbones, the thin, like the fashion of that, all of that grabbed me. And Diamond Dogs and Station to Station just grabbed me. And that was the two records which made me just a huge fan. Then Station to Station just settled as my favorite Bowie album, because it's funky, it's kind of gothy. The character he's singing in is just emotionally verklempt, which as a Brit I relate to. So is that an okay explanation? I don't know.
No, it's really inspiring actually. I wanted to actually also like asking about your original music. You sent me this beautiful album, that tells the story of a love story.
Oh,
Um,
Elysium. Mhm.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
which is a
that's.
beautiful album. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. It's definitely, it's not a concept album in the traditional sense of the thing, but it is absolutely the span of the record contains both the fall of one relationship, the rise and the ridiculous heights of the second relationship, and then the desperate attempt to keep that together. And then the next record, Honne Tatemae, which has been one of, you know, people, I've second album 2 of the year last year with New Wave podcast called Honne Tatemae is the devastation of the end of that relationship. So it's kind of a concept of, oh shit, what's happening here? But, whatever. I mean, I have a disappointingly trained philosophical attitude towards matters of the heart, because I've been through plenty of fallen relationships, and of course I accept my part in it, but it's their fault, not mine.
Of course, of course.
I have to tell myself that, otherwise, I'd fall apart.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things too, where with like the heartache is so beautifully expressed through the music, as many albums have been. Like,
Sure. Blonde
yeah,
on
and
Blonde, for example, Blood on the Tracks. Yeah.
I know. But it's interesting to me that simultaneously you've been like creating these Bowie songs, and I was curious, like, if one has inspired the other, like as you're creating music in one lane, if like in the other lane it gets influenced.
It definitely, there's a song on Elysium, and it's the one song where I just gave in and just said, right, I'm going to try and sound a bit like Bowie on this song. And it wasn't in the song, it was in the guitar solo at the end,
Mm.
because it was actually in Robert Fripp. I mean, I'm a huge Fripp fan. When Fripp and Bowie work together, that is magic. I mean, there's no denying that. Is, Heroes, that whole record is just, Robert Fripp owns Heroes and Mike Garson owns Aladdin Sane in my head. I mean, obviously the Bowie is the genius maestro conducting the whole thing. But when Robert Fripp is adding to fashion, for example, that's undeniably one of the greatest guitar solos of all time, because it's so oblique and weird and just impenetrably odd. But once you've heard it, the dissonance becomes inextricable from the song. I mean, I've heard people iterate fashion and not emulated Fripp's guitar on it, and it's ruined the song because they are so signature. And in some ways, it's like that guitar sound and solo by Fripp is directly influencing the end of the line. Everything
Mm.
else is an accident. Like if I chose a chord sequence that maybe Bowie would have chosen that not many other people had, it's not because I'm referencing Bowie consciously. It's just that I can't escape my musical influence. So it's Beatles, it's Radiohead, it's Bowie, it's Kate Bush, and it's Prince to a degree. So those five people are the core influence of what I do, and I can't escape. Benjamin Britten is another one.
Mm.
Debussy is another one. Like, I can't escape those influences, but I'm not deliberately applying them to my music.
Those are great influences, by the way. Such great
Thank you.
influences.
Thank
Yes.
you. I like to collect things which live in the same lane but aren't exactly the same. I love Bauhaus, but it doesn't
Hmm.
influence the way I write. I love Jane's Addiction. It doesn't influence the way I write. That Zeppelin have crept into the next record because I love
Yeah.
Zeppelin, and there's something about and that's the one that Brian Viglione plays on, and he's the right guy for that very specific. It's pounding. It's. I mean, I can imagine him on stage with his.
Yes. Yeah, I mean it's so interesting. I heard that there were many composers, like, in back in the day, that the way they learned composing was to actually like transcribe the work of other composers, and then it's somehow absorbed into them. Like they just sort of inevitably learned. And so I think it's so interesting when you learn from great songwriting, and you kind of, it gets absorbed into your subconscious, how it can kind of leak into your own work and in good ways.
It's the harmonic relationships, isn't it? It's like if you only listen to Chuck Berry, you're gonna be writing 12-bar blues. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're always listening to Schoenberg, it's likely you're going to do a serialist piece. And that's fair enough, I think, because you can't do anything new. I think the last new kind of music was acid house, and this is a really long time ago. You know, I mean, all they can do now is, I mean, you could argue Skrillex. I mean, the dubstep. I mean, that's drum and bass.
Hmm.
So you can trace the roots of most things. And acid house, to me, that it was a new thing. And I remember the advent of that in England. But then between acid house and now, there's not enough technology that has been used effectively to make a new sound. And I think arguably now we're going to AI. Maybe AI will invent a new sound, and
Mm.
then somebody will claim it as their own. Make $1 million, leaving me in the dust. But you know,
Oh, we shall see, I suppose.
well, you never know. But I mean, it's, you know, obviously there are so many. There's been a splintering of the music industry quite
Hmm.
reasonably recently, as I'm sure you know. I mean, your band is Alice Band. Is it called Alice Band, right? Or
Just
is it
Alice.
just Alice? Okay, it's
Hmm.
Alice Band on MySpace or Facebook. Sorry, that's my mates. But so I mean, Alice does. I mean, I love what you do. I think it's wonderful. It's very sort of cosplay friendly, and there's lots of drama in it. But it truthfully it roots back to vaudeville and, you know, all the Bowie and all those things. But I try my hardest to sound like something new, and I just can't. I mean, there's always, it's almost an anchor to have
Mm.
great influences from your past, because you don't feel you need to forge forward, because everything's been done so well. And so you're trying to be you're trying to recognize that and appreciate it. I don't know, am I talking nonsense now? Too many coffees.
No, no, never enough coffees. I beg to differ. I was wondering, this is my favorite part of when you first start a song, but for you, like, what does your blank slate look like? Is it like a melody that hums in your head, or a lyric, or something that
That,
comes out instrumentally?
that's a really difficult question. I like to answer that in these terms. So David J was recording with me for a while, and he left his bass, you know, the magical Bauhaus black bass, and he was back in Bauhaus at the time, so it had the sprinkly magic on it. So I used it. I just put some fretless bass parts together, just to kind of try, you know, just what it would do. And of course, every instrument you pick up says something new to you. It's like a different person. So his bass suggested several of the signature bass riffs on some of the songs on Elysium, because that was the time when I was writing it. And so that is, on the outside, a weird way of coming up with the song. And then I will thread it together conceptually. And then sometimes songs will come together. One line will illustrate a concept, and then I develop the poetry that will become the lyrics, and then I will put music to that. But a lot of the time now, because I'm in the studio every day, I live with my studio in my front room, unfortunately, because I'm not wealthy. And so I will make music every day. I'll start a synth, and the synth will come up with some weird sound or a nice pattern, and I'll record that, put a drum beat to it, and then that will suggest a musical thing. I'll sing gibberish into a melody, and then eventually that will come into a song. One time I bought a new looper pedal and just played something, recorded it direct, no edits, and then wrote a song to accommodate that. So it doesn't matter. It's like music is what I do all of the time, every day. And that means that it comes in so many different ways. And the key to finishing a song is to iterate perfectly the concept that you're trying to put across. And that's the important thing, the lyric, to me. If the lyric makes sense as a coherent concept, then the song is finished. And then the rest of it's just window dressing.
Mm. I actually take a moment to say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dusty actually had a question for you. It said, writing on the road, yay or nay, or it's complicated?
I'm always writing, could be out on the
Mm.
road, at home, in my studio. I mean, it's been affected sometimes by, I mean, I'm trying currently to distract myself from constantly doing music, because what I would do is I'd, you know, bounce the MP3s of backing tracks and sing in my own head while I'm on a plane. to try and finish a song tends to be writing lyrically more than melodically. And I tried for a while. I brought a little synth with me. I'll show you this thing, which I cannot recommend highly enough. The Lumi. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. I'm actually sponsored by Roland, so I shouldn't be showing you this. It's supposed to light up, but I think it's running out of batteries. But these are great, so you can connect them to your computer and use them. I never did. I tried on a plane to do it, but it just felt really arch to be sat on a plane next to somebody I don't know, playing with this glowing multicolored lighting. It just felt really pretentious, so I never did it. So yes, lyrics, not so much writing.
Mm. Well, speaking of road, I was curious, what was your first live show?
First ever live show?
Yeah.
Do you count my appearances in the cathedral when I was at Durham Cathedral Choir School?
Yes, absolutely.
So my first live show, I mean, realistically, I was 5, and I sang with in front of the whole school. But then I was also a choir boy, and I was a soloist at Durham Cathedral Choir School. So I would solo from the age of 7 in Durham Cathedral, which is, if you've been there, which I'm not going to assume you have, but if you haven't, you must. It's the setting for Harry Potter, Hogwarts. And it is a magnificent building with the reverb that you want. It's basically the Cocteau Twins in stone. So that would have been it. But my first rock gig was when I was 15 at my boarding school, and it was a learning experience, and it was wonderful. Obviously, you know, all the girls thought, "Hey, this guy's pretty cool." So that was a benefit I was hoping for and didn't know whether it would work, but it did. It totally worked. So yeah, 15, my boarding school.
Wow. And so you knew pretty early on then that you wanted to be in bands and create music then.
I initially, I mean, I was sort of top in my class for biology and Latin, right? And this is from an early age all the way up, because I have quite a facility for language. That's one of my things. And I'm fascinated by human bodies. I love the human body. So I was going to be a doctor, and I determined it was going to be probably a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. And then I realized that, okay, so this is a funny story. I've probably told it before. My grandfather told me one day, he was probably 92 at the time. He said, "Oh, Julian, I'm so tired and I want to die, but your grandmother won't let me." And it gave me a sort of existential intake of breath, right? And he wasn't being unkind, or he wasn't being cruel. He was a very, very excellently lovely man, right? But then something clicked in my brain, which was to be a doctor is to patch people up, right, and to prolong their lives, and I saw the effect of like oncology treatments and things like this, where people are given 6 months more by all this horrible regime of chemotherapy and all this sort of stuff. And obviously, I want people to have longevity and survive and all that stuff. And then I realized he kind of made me think, okay, well, sometimes maybe it's not my job to do that. So what I would rather do is I would rather change people's minds and make their life and their state of being worth living, right? Because I mean, there's a difference, isn't there? There's life and there's quality of life. And my grandfather was probably joking, but if I was having a terrible quality of life, I would want to feel good about my life again. I wouldn't want it prolonged where it was awful. So, and that's my thought. It's not what I push out into the world. So I thought I'm going to become a psychologist. And then I realized that I love psychology, but I don't like the science of it. So I was like, I'm going to be a songwriter so I can write things that make you existentially able to deal with situations. And a lot of my music is about that. It's about acceptance of horrible things, acceptance of mortality, and turning it on its head and keeping your head up high, if you will, which is my favorite song off Elysium, about,
Mm.
you're facing a horrible existential crisis, but you can deal with it through focus. Like I do transcendental meditation, which is, the meditation the Beatles did and David Lynch did and all this sort of stuff. And what that does is it grounds one in the reality that although we do live in Maya, which is the state of being, that it is the lila, which is the play of the universe. So taking things too seriously and taking yourself too seriously and taking the troubles of today too seriously can all be, you can effect a screensaver onto your mind over that. If you go into straight transcendental meditation, you do 20 minutes, and what it does is it loses you it absconds your consciousness for 20 minutes. And when you come back into your body, which I've done every time so far, you feel refreshed psychologically and existentially, which is great because, if you have a big problem, you're like, oh my God, I had a fight with my ex-wife or whatever it might be. And then you meditate and you clear the mind and you realize we are all one, we are all connected. The cosmic consciousness flows on within you and without you, as George Harrison said. It doesn't matter. And you can deal with the horrible, horrible thing that's happening with at least a sense of the passing. All things must pass, as George Harrison also said. That you can then you'll get past it. You wade through the shit to reach the shore, the other side. And it just helps sometimes,
Mm.
I can't remember what the
Yeah.
question was now.
I was on the journey with you, so
Oh, well, wonderful. Do you do TM or?
well, I practice my own form of meditation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of my
Meditation
daily
is very,
practice.
it's so important, I think, especially when you've come out of the highly optimistic phase of your life and dealt with lots of real life problems, which everybody does, right?
Hmm.
Whether
Yeah.
it's, terrible illness or whether it's your parents bought you the wrong collar pony, it's like it's existential crises of different types in everybody's life. And the only way to deal with it is to find some sort of reflection and self-reflection to just get through it. And TM is for me that, and for you is your form of meditation. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I, it's so wonderful hearing other people's practices. Some people find practice in movement, so it's like their meditation is through movement, whether it's running or dancing or just whatever it is. Like they find the meditation in motion.
Sure.
Um, yeah, but it's always so interesting to hear about the different practices that you know bring you to, I guess. Maybe peace, a sense of peace
Peace
and
would be
groundedness.
the word I'd use. Also, we have the great benefit as songwriters of people who can put down we are our own psychoanalysts sometimes. We can extrapolate from our creative process where to go next. Because, you start writing a song. I had a horrible experience, which is probably the worst of my life, where I've had two of these actually, massively betrayed by,
Mm.
good friends or supposedly good friends. And writing a song about that specific experience helped me through it because it made me real. Firstly, it's an acerbic, nasty song, which is, I'm not that sort of person. But the acerbic, nasty song enabled me to kind of come to terms with it. It's like a catharsis of some sort. And that's another answer to the question that was asked earlier. It's like it's through catharsis. And if I'm on a plane and I'm going through an angry moment and a spike, I will write down what exactly encapsulates that and what I want to say to that person without having to say it to them. And I'm quite good with language, as I say, so I can say something really specific, but not libelous. Anyway.
Well, I really love that, music does have a way of transforming and alchemizing, even the darkest experiences that we have. And also that it can then translate into, like you were mentioning earlier, like ways that it can help other people.
Mhm.
like people can connect to that message, because I think all of us experience different things in different junctures, and then I think as artists, we can then translate it into something hopefully that can transmorph ourselves and thus pass it on, pass the torch on.
Yeah, and to that, as it pertains to that, the song I'm referring to, the angry song, what I did when I was marketing it, and let's make no bones about it, I was marketing the song. I want people to listen to it. I made a sigil of forgiveness and cleansing, right?
Mm.
Which is I don't know, you probably, of course you do, what a sigil. A sigil is, just for people who might be watching who don't know, it's a sign. It's like a drawn sign that contains meaning within it for you. And it's a magical practice in the kind of Crowley-esque style, where you contain your wish to the universe in this thing, and it focuses your thought. And my wish in the sigil was to cleanse myself of the anger. And what it was I put the sigil out to a lot of my followers and fans and said, look, if you have somebody that hurt you and really betrayed you and makes you feel terrible every day, give me a video of you burning this sigil. And I sent copies of the sigil to everybody, and I sent them, free downloads of whatever it was. And I got lots of video back of people burning this sigil and saying, I cleanse, and I had a spell, cleanse my heart of animosity towards X, and left it blank for their person. And, so mote it be, whatever that language was, I don't remember. And I got all this video back of people in their element, dressed up to the nines, or just in their backyard or whatever, burning the sigil, saying the spell. And that was the video for the song. And it was,
Mm.
firstly, it was fabulous because it gave me a sense of closure on that situation. And secondly, there was a video of all these people who really appreciated that. So it was an interesting experiment in how to reach people. And I want love and harmony and peace for everybody, right? Because if somebody who hates me has love and harmony and peace in their life, then they won't bother me because they can't be bothered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even
Mm.
my worst enemies want peace and harmony and all that stuff. But I also need that peace. And even if they don't hate me, if I still feel hatred for them, it's going to eat me up. It's a whole Buddhist concept, right? So even that song, which is the angriest, nastiest, most acid song I've ever written, is designed to cleanse and create peace. That's my excuse anyway.
It sounds so powerful, though, and I love that you set that intention. And it sounds like it really did find its way home in a way.
Yeah, and people really appreciated it because, of course, they're
Hmm.
getting involved, and they appreciate that that's what I'm trying to do, because otherwise it just sounds like an angry song, to be honest. I don't want to diminish it. It's a good one, but I don't want it to be seen in the fullness of time as being like a, you know.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, sometimes, you can have such big emotions, and you were mentioning your psychology background, but you can have such big emotions and not know where to put them. And I think that it's so amazing when you encounter a song, by an artist, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad this artist is expressing something that I just couldn't put my finger on, and it helps to have a place to put that.
Absolutely. Morrissey, for all his sins recently, Morrissey was that guy. I mean, he was probably the most effective, resonant lyricist. I mean, I don't know whether you like the Smiths and Morrissey, but I would listen to his lyric, and it was so like, I am the sun in the air of a shyness that is criminally, I mean, he's Oscar Wilde in the way he writes. And then he says, I deserve to be, I need to be loved just like anybody else does. Yeah. And I go to a
Mm,
club and I stand on my own, and I go home and alone, and I want to die or whatever. It's like, wow, that guy speaks directly to me. Like there's none of this like bullshit optimism. There's none of this, it is just literally him saying, I'm so lonely at this moment. And everybody feels that, even the person
yeah.
with most friends in the world. So I kind of understand the psychology of that. And you know, it's, I can't remember what the term for it is, but when you write songs that speak to a need like that, where you want to connect, because everything I write is to connect with people, everything, even though it's in my terms, which is kind of arrogant. I just want to connect. That's all that I want to do, because I love people.
Hmm.
Not all people, but most people. I'd like to connect with the people I don't like the most, so I can tell them to stop being mean.
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think also like when you are expressing things that can be darker, I recently heard interview with Rick Rubin where he was talking about how, you know, some of the most powerful music I think is like it's like out of a journal. And it's having the courage to just really express exactly what you're feeling, whether or not you're going to be judged for it, however people look at it, but to just really dig into just the raw truth of where you are.
Oh, like John Lennon's first solo record. Like that record is probably one of my favorite records, and you know, he had the raw honesty to just confront so many difficult topics. I mean, well, the first two of his solo records are equal to anything the Beatles did in my head, because he was just addressing horrible truths about himself and the way he felt about Paul and all that sort of stuff that is unvarnished, true feeling, and you can feel every moment. Now, that's the one thing I would say about Bowie, and I love Bowie, and it's not a criticism at all, but Bowie was an artificial character developer. So a lot of his music was one level disconnected from his true emotional core. In some ways, it's difficult to hear what he's driving at when it's so arty. I mean,
Mm.
there's Letter to Hermione was, I mean, do you know his catalog well?
Not that well. I know some of it because of the albums that I've been a part of.
Right.
But I don't know Letter to Hermione.
Well, Letter to Hermione is one of his songs from the very first breakthrough album, Space Oddity. It wasn't a breakthrough album, but it's a folk song, and it's the only one in his whole canon which I feel is unvarnishedly honest. It's like it's about his girlfriend that left him, and it's so sweet. I
Mm.
mean, sweetness and Bowie don't really go hand in hand generally, but that one does, and it's significant because of that, I think. And I try, although there are snippets of characters in my writing. It's very rare. I've definitely got more of I've got more of the John Lennon approach to this self-eviscerating self-reflection, lyrically and musically, but I got more of the musical influence from Bowie, I think, and because and John Lennon is the greatest. Bowie, John Lennon, Kate Bush. I mean, they're the top three of ever songwriters, right? But Bowie's genius was musical and
Mm.
intellectual. John's genius was visceral and personal, and Kate's just beyond everything. Hers is alien. She's the real alien in the triple, you know.
I could definitely see that. Yes, in her own universe for sure.
Mm. But equal to them both, I think.
We have a question from, and I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. I think it's Danciolik.
Dan Shulek,
Danciolik.
yes. Dan Shulek.
Um, Danciolik.
Yes.
You've produced work for other artists. Have you been influenced significantly by any of their work?
I've I've worked a lot with David J, which is he played bass for Bauhaus and Love and Rockets, and obviously it's hard to say whether I was influenced by David after working with him or whether it was just Bauhaus that influenced me in the past. But to be fair, not really. I worked with Darwin, who I love dearly, a very good friend, and also is in the Night Crickets with David J, which is another tie-in back. And Darwin has influenced me, I think, and I mean not just musically, but as a human. Have you ever interviewed Darwin? You
I
must.
don't know.
He's magnificent. He's a really great artist and a wonderful guy, very smart. Um, so maybe, I mean, I've done remixes for Beauty and Chaos, and I've worked with them a lot. And I've asked Michael Sravalo to play guitar on my new album. He's on one song on my new album. So in that sense, yes. And I love Michael. I love, you know, MGT also, when he worked with me on a couple of songs that we've done together. Is it an influence exactly? No, but I would incorporate something of what he brought to my music back in, if that makes sense. Because, you know, he taught me that sometimes it's just good to play goth rock guitar, and he's way beyond that. I'm not, you know, putting him in a box in any sense, because he played some really lush textural stuff on my stuff too, but his style of playing is powerful, and a lot of my stuff isn't powerful. The songwriting's powerful, I would argue, but not the sound. So sometimes now I will reference what MGT did with me to make my songs sound a bit more, you know. So maybe, Dan, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it. I heard it's so interesting when you have like different people and they have a certain sound and a certain feeling, you know, to bring it in. I was curious if you were brewing up any new original music.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's an album in the can. I'm currently, as I say, Brian recorded drums on a couple of things. So we've got those songs that Brian and Michael played on and done. And a lot of the other stuff is it's so okay. So there's a greatest hits album coming out. Basically, we're printing, we're getting the artwork together at the moment, and this is a remix album that my record label head, who is a musician himself, called David Chatfield. He remixed about 12 of my songs, and he's done sort of radio mixes of all of them, because he delved deep into my catalog and just chose all the songs that he really loved and said, "Can I do remixes?" And I was like, absolutely, why not? You know, because I've made the finished product and it's done and it's out and it's great and I love it. So yes, please do what you can. So I've given him one song, which is a new original, which nobody's heard, and sounds great, coming out next week. And so we're going to do a big marketing campaign on that. We've got liner notes, lots of artwork. We are, you know, putting together packages. We're going to do, this is going to be the proper marketing push of my whole career, to be honest. And then I also have a whole album of new material. I'm choosing from about 17 songs to whittle it down to maybe 10, 11. And it's great. It's one of the albums of my life, but it's not as commercial as Elysium, if that makes sense. Because Elysium is a quite commercial record. It has maybe 5 singles on it, which A&R ears would say these are singles. This one has 2 singles, but the rest of the album is songwritery based. I'd describe it as a cross between Hunky Dory and Grace by Jeff Buckley. Not that Jeff Buckley's great vocal, of course, but it's got that feel to it. So it's more indie rock than the rest. A lot of my stuff has been quite electronic, but there's no synths at all on this new record. It's all guitars and fretless bass.
Wow. Wow, very cool. I love that it's like a, I mean, I love your synth work as well, but that's so cool that you're actually going to be exploring those different textures.
I mean, I've done, throughout my career, I've done mainly singer-songwriter based stuff. It's only been electronic since the last 10, 12 years. And that's only through just, I bought a bunch of synths. I mean, at one point I had 16 synths, and it's really fun playing with sounds, but I'm predominantly a songwriter, honestly. And, you know, the songs take center stage when you do that. Sonically doesn't have any. So I kind of, and this also pertains to the question that you were asked earlier. I have gone back to the idea of writing a song from the song up, having the song concept done, and maybe mainly on acoustic guitar is how I write, or piano. And so I will write a full song. That gives you a test as to whether the song is strong enough. Because if the synth line, I mean, I don't know whether you've heard the new Ladytron album, right? Ladytron are the geniuses of this. Conceptually, they have an art school mentality for concept. So the lyric will generally be quite simple, but it'll be cool. And then sonically, it's a world. But I get the feeling that if you took a Ladytron album and played it on an acoustic guitar, it wouldn't work as well as it does with all the sonic development. And that's what they do. And I love them, and they're fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I'm not in any sense denigrating that. But I am proud to say that a lot of my songs are acoustic. If you busk the songs, you can busk them with an acoustic guitar, you can play them on the piano, and they will iterate because they have structure and they have form and they have a middle eight and they have, you know, all that sort of stuff. It isn't important to anybody, that stuff, anymore. But it's important to me that I go back to that to prove I can still do it, to be honest. I mean, having lived in that 12-year synth world, you know, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I I love I saw that you had played some acoustic shows. And I love that it's like it goes to your roots. I think that's what I love about acoustic music in general is that you can really hear the song.
Right.
Um, yeah.
And it live or dies on your, I mean, obviously a little bit to do with your skill and whether you can play, because I've spent, you know, 10 years feeling a bit karaoke. And you know, I've been in a band that it never gave me the chance to really play the instrument. It was sort of a facade in some ways. So now I'm sort of thinking to myself, well, I have to develop my instrument because it's 10 years of not practicing or playing proper. And I have in the studio, so I'm over egging this particular pudding. But I like the idea that I can get up there and I can develop my playing and my artistry and my musicianship as well as,
Hmm.
you know, being able to create soundscapes. And you know, and people really respect and like that. I mean, I've been doing these, as you said, acoustic Bowie shows where I sometimes play original songs too. And it's some of the most exciting songs, sorry, songs, yes, because it's Bowie, but some of the most exciting shows I've ever done because the people are right there. If you're
Mm.
doing an acoustic show, unless you're Ed Sheeran, it tends to be smaller venues. And this particular place I play is in South Pasadena. It's a Italian restaurant. So people are eating magnificent Italian food, drinking magnificent Italian wine, and they are singing along to every word of the Bowie that I'm playing. And I do requests, and I'll play for 3 hours. Like I know maybe, you know, no, I've got a list of all the Bowie songs I've done in the past. It's probably 100 strong, you know. So,
Wow. That's amazing. That is really amazing.
and you know, Bowie used to do that. He was sat on the floor with a 12-string guitar and at the beginning of his career. And you know, if I couldn't do that, I would feel embarrassed to get up and strut my stuff and then not know how to do the songs. It's like it's part of the immersion to a degree. It's like, you know, and he was a very facile 12-string and piano player. So to again pertaining to that, the reason that I've played, I mean, I've played 34 instruments on records. So, you know, from sitar to clarinet to flute to guitar and all that stuff. The reason I did that was Prince, because I read that Prince had done that. So I was like, I'm going to do that too. And I'm not pretending I played well on all those instruments because I didn't. But I think it's important to, when you have a mentor figure, whether you know that mentor or whether you've just been respectful of the mentor, I think it's good to find out what you like about them and try to emulate that, because you're
Mm.
always going to fall short. Like I think London Suede, one of my favorite bands, and this again is not diminishing at all. I love them. They are, when they started, were trying a little bit to be like Diamond Dogs era David Bowie, and they failed miserably. But in doing the failure, managed to create something magnificent in its own right and became one of the greatest bands that ever was. But the kernel of it was, let's be a bit like Bowie. I can't complain because we've got Bowie already, and now we have Suede. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Bowie has such a large body of work, and I mean, you do too.
Sure, it's been a
And
while.
growing and growing. It
It's
continues to grow.
400 or so songs I've been involved with on Spotify alone. So
Wow.
it's been
That's incredible.
I mean, lot of this stuff is just remixes that because when I do a remix, I'll get a vocal stem and I'll ignore the rest of the track and I'll just build this remix around the vocal stem because that's more fun for me. I never listen to the original song. I'll just get the song, the vocal, hear what key it's in, trying to figure out what I would put to the chords, and then write a whole new track to accommodate the thing. And I send them back a remix and they just go like, what is this? This is different tempo, different time signature, but they listen to it and they generally like it. So I'm okay doing that,
I love that creative approach.
That's fun. Incidentally, send me one of yours. I'd love to do a remix.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
BPM and vocal only.
Okay. That would be amazing. Yes. Isidro, I hope I am saying your name right. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Wanted to ask, what made you choose the name Singularity? I like it.
So when I was deciding what to call the band, because I had a solo record which was under my name, right? So I put a band together and then I recorded the whole record on my own. But I had a live band, so I thought there must be a band name. And I was reading Ray Kurzweil's The Singularity is Near book. And then I read Brief History of Time, which is Stephen Hawking's book about black holes, and they reference singularity in that. And I was like, this is a sign from the universe. This is the singularity. And it references, for Kurzweil, it was the point where science growth and understanding is so exponential that nobody can quite see what's going to happen. And that applies to AI as much as anything else. So that's the technical singularity is where we do not understand how technology has grown so quickly, and human understanding doesn't have any idea how to get his head around it. The singularity is also, according to Stephen Hawking, the edge of a black hole where all time and space and understanding of science collapses. So it's a duality with the word singularity. So I love words and playing with concepts and meanings. So that's why.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. I love the play on words for sure. And I think it's interesting that your music does have like different opposites that you play with, the electronics, but the acoustic, and
Right.
the dark and light themes. So
That first album, the 404 Not Found album, that was the name, The Singularity, that's exactly why I wanted an acoustic song, but with everything electronic around it. Singularity, just the meeting of so many different genres and things. So it was a factor in that album, and then it just grew from that, because that was when I started playing with synths and realized you can do something really special with that. So, and I'm not limited sonically by anything as well, which is, to a degree, that's the same as a black hole. It's like you can get a bouzouki on this song and pair it with an 808. It's fine. That's the musical singularity, right?
Well, when you play live, do you have like particular ways that you like to translate it live?
I I do. I mean, I've only played one full band show for a long time. I opened at the Wiltern for a Depeche Mode cover band and Stabbing Westwood and Julian Kay. And what I did was I had a guitar player, I had a drummer, live drummer, I had the bass was on the track, I had a backing vocalist, and I had a guy playing synths and percussion. So that was the one iteration where I've had a full band, but often I've just played on my own or myself with a drummer. I do want to put a full band together, but to be honest, because of the nature of it and because I have strings and I have trumpets and all that sort of stuff, it's going to be hard to get a full band just covering the thing from fresh. So it's probably going to involve tracks, and I would prefer to be very, very wealthy and playing the Hollywood Bowl, and then I'll get the USC marching band behind me.
We're putting that to the universe.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you, Tash.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's always interesting to me because the way people translate their music live. It's, I saw Bjork do a show where all of both her computers, like they crashed. And in her adorable accent, she says, "Our computer is ill now, so I will sing ballads." And she did everything acoustically, which was magical. It was so
Right.
magical.
Well,
Um,
that's like Julian Cope. Julian Cope did a series of shows, and it's not that like Julian Cope, but he would open his own show. He'd do an hour of acoustic songs, and then his whole band would come out, and he'd do another 2 hours of full band shows. And I'm like, I want to be there, like Prince, 3 hour shows, and it's the huge band, and they're the best thing you've ever seen in your life. Like every Prince show was magnificent because they were so rehearsed and it was so perfect, and they could turn on a dime, jam out the moments. He'd just go like this and they'd jam, right? And then he'd do a splits and he'd go and play basketball while they're jamming this moment. I want that. But as you know, it's expensive. And so
mhm.
you need people who actually care, who would come to the show. You need thousands of people that would come to the show. And you need to pay. I will not put a band together and not pay them properly. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like I respect. The last show I did was Friday night at no Friday night, yeah, at the Three Clubs, and it was a Bowie show. I had Lou Reed's guitar player on my left. I had Brian Ferry's guitar player on my right. I had Dweezil Zappa's keyboard player. I had a bass player who I played with for 15 years. I had a drummer who plays in Britain's Finest, which is one of the best Beatles tributes. Those guys are excellent. I cannot underpay them because they turn up, do one rehearsal, and they are perfect. Like I have to have earned that,
Mhm.
to afford those players, and I want those players because they're brilliant. So the Verve is one of my favorite bands, and Suede, one of my favorite bands. They were buddies jamming at school, and they played together for 5 years before they even found their feet. That isn't going to happen with me. I haven't got 5 years to try and find a band and be buddies at school and jam it. I mean, I'd need top flight session players. I mean, I've worked with people who can play the parts, but they can't play the range of parts generally, because I play from funk to Fripp on the
Mm.
record, and I need somebody who can do that, and I can't sing and play that at the same time. So it's there are people out there, but they are really, really good, so they deserve to be paid well, and that's the reality of it. I mean, I've been away touring for 10 years. I haven't got that tight knit group of friends who are really excited to play with me. I have a couple, and that's fine, and we're developing it. So we are playing Bar Sinister in October, for example, playing the Ladytron after show next end of this month. No, end of next month. So there is a couple of shows on the horizon. So I've got to get my shit together.
I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for this. I definitely would love to come.
Oh, for sure. I'll invite you. June the 11th as well. Believe it or not, I have an art show. So one of my good friends is Claudia Lanier, who is, do you know the song Lady Grinning Soul by David Bowie?
Mm-mm, I don't.
It's the closer of Aladdin Sane. It's one of the most beautiful songs ever. She was the inspiration for it. And then she went on to be the inspiration for Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones. She was the inspiration for these two artists. And she used to be an ICAT. Anyway, she's my good friend. And she sang at the concert for Bangladesh with George Harrison. Like, she's a legend, proper legend. But anyway, she's a huge fan, and she's very, very supportive of my music. And she's set up an art show for me. So I'm going to be exhibiting, artwork from my albums and pictures of me and all this sort of stuff, which feels really strange because, nobody knows who I am. So I'm going to perform at that. So that's June 11th. That's, I think, the next show.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love that you're incorporating different mediums, so it's not just the music, but also including like the visual storytelling behind it as well.
Oh, yeah. I use projections for all the shows, because if you're going to use tracks, you have to use projections because they'll sync to the track, right? I mean, do you guys
Yes.
use projections now?
No, but we have a light show that our drummer programmed.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's my next step. I want a light show and projections. And there's a guy, Trevor Song, who's really good in town. He does the magic wands at the moment. And
Oh, very cool.
I've seen his show. I've actually never seen Magic Wands, but I've seen what the YouTube he sent me of that. Have you seen Magic Wands?
I haven't.
No, they're supposed to be really good. But his light show is great. He's really knows what he's doing, and I guess it's all MIDI controlled. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what Steve, our drummer, does. So, yeah. Oh, we have a question from Phoenix. Sir Julian, have you ever had a time where you had the words to write in your head and would lose them before you can get them out? So far, I'm just a little published poet, but have higher hopes.
yeah, funnily enough, I mean, it happens all the time, but now we have the notes app on our phone, right? So now it tends to think. What used to happen to me a lot, and I mean a lot, like, for hours at a time, for nights at a time, I would write a full finished song with lyrics and everything in my head while I was sleeping. And I would wake up, write the song down, go back to sleep. And then my subconscious, because it's a tricky bastard, trained my dream to dream that I woke up and wrote it down, and then went back to sleep. And then I wake up in the morning, I was like, that was a great song. Let's see what it. And then my notebook would be blank. And I'd be like, pesky subconscious, happened to me several times. And it was frustrating. But yes, all the time I used to. But the notes app on your phone is your friend, because you can transcribe from voice notes. And, you come up with a crazy concept. You just go, crazy concept for a song, blah, 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 or poem, or whatever it might be. And you can do that on your own if you have an iPhone. I'm making too many assumptions.
Yes, I love voice notes and the notes app both. It's so vital, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if your muse is mischievous and likes to like whisper things in the middle of the night or when you're driving. Yeah.
Right. I know that I've had some askance looks from girlfriends or wives at some point where I've, got up in the middle of the night and gone into the bathroom and just picked out I do it quietly, but I'll sing a little bit of the song into my phone, and they'll hear it. They're like, what's going on? Who are you texting at this time of night? I promise you nobody, it's my muse. She's texting me via my subconscious.
I'm just having a conversation with my subconscious, nothing to see here.
Just a demigod in my dreams.
Oh gosh. Oh yes. Sidro was talking about two-layer dreams. Definitely means some deep sleep. Absolutely.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love the movie. I don't know if you've seen it, Waking Life.
of course, of course. Linklater. Yeah.
Hmm.
Alex Jones is in that. I rewatched it recently, and I realized Alex Jones is in it, and I was like, wow, I would not platform that guy in my movie. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's just I love the idea of like really it's like the play of subconscious that happens and the awareness if you're able to lucid dream and
I can lucid dream. That's something I trained myself to do. I thought it was a good idea, and it's wonderful. I mean, I tried astral projection for a while, and that was wonderful too. Because I think I don't value waking life over subconscious experience. I don't value one over the other. I think both of them are, you have to integrate. It's like the shadow self. You have to integrate all of the parts of yourself to experience fully what's going on. I mean, that's one of the things that led me to take mushrooms and things when I was younger, was just the desire to really experience and understand the mechanisms and the operating systems that we all labor under, because life is it's phenomenally brilliant. It's such a great thing to be experiencing the world and all the things in it, and pain and pleasure and joy and misery. Like, they're all an essential part of the experience, and you cannot have the light without understanding what the dark is. So it's all of those. You have to embrace all of them, and if you do, then you have a fully complete life. In my opinion.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it is well, we were talking about earlier how like I think writing songs is a way of bringing light to the shadow side that you yourself might not have been aware of.
Right.
Um
Oh, I've
yeah.
never been. I've not been a person who expresses anger well. And I'd have to question why that is, because that's a strange situation. I know that everybody has their angry moments, and I've now discovered anger, and I have very virulent hatred at times, and that's something I find difficult to express. But putting it into a song gives me a nice contained, maybe I'm neurodivergent, who knows? That's what everybody is these days. So perhaps maybe I'm not. But putting it into a song means that I can say, okay, well, do I want this hate? Do I want this poison? Or can I put it here? I put this moment here. I put this moment here. I put this moment over here, as Kate Bush said. And it's wonderful, because you can truly, it's catharsis, it's closure, it's all those things, whether it be joy or I can't write songs about joy until the joy is no longer on me, because that's, it's difficult for me to articulate, because I'm experiencing it. I can't really write that well in the depths of misery. I mean, most people, I think, feel robbed of all verve when they're miserable. And so I can write about it once it's happened, and I can sit, but you have to sit in it. This is what the Buddhists say: sit in every moment, sit in every state of mind, and experience it fully, because it will pass. But if you try not to experience it and push it off, you won't know what it is, and what it's teaching you, and what it's telling you, and what your capacity is. And that, I mean, theoretically it's great, and in practice it's horrible.
Well, when you are in the thick of those moments, I guess it's sort of like it can be so difficult to translate, and I really do like the idea of like sitting with something. I think I was reading something about a yogi teaching about the idea of inviting your shadows to tea and having a conversation with them, you know.
Yogi Charananda or something like that.
I think it
I think
was,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I of course, but I mean, that's why you sit and you have tea with your demons, and then you realize that they're great, and they're fun, and they help you. They help you experience the light, because they are the antithesis of it. And I fully believe that. Like I shadow Jungian psychology and shadow self. I've I've read a little bit about that, and I've done all the what's your shadow archetype, all those things, the quizzes online. They're really fun. I mean, it's nonsense, of course. You can't boil it down that easily, but it's interesting, because certainly with sexual kink and things like that. I mean, one of my ex-girlfriends was a dominatrix, and she would talk to about sexual kinks, and that is a fascinating shadow world, because people who have sexual kinks sometimes can focus their shadow in that department, and when they find the outlet for it, it can make them a much more whole person. And having a sexual kink is much more containable than having an emotional kink, because emotional kink requires that you interact with somebody who understands and wants to provide it, whereas a sexual one, you can pay somebody to do it, right? So being human is complicated.
Yeah. Absolutely, I know. We're such rainbowed creatures, I think.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And the darkness is not a color, but it's part of the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just saying, talking of rainbows, but I have an 11-year-old little girl called Phoebe, and she has also been my savior in so many of these times, because when she is here with me, which is part of the time I share custody with my ex-wife, she reminds me, firstly, this is the way I look, even when she's being really annoying, because she's sassy now. Like, she's 11. She is sassy. She's giving me she has her own opinion and all that stuff. And she can be quite frustrating. She's adorable and lovely and a very easy child, don't get me wrong. But of course, there are always moments. And I sit and I look at her and I'll simmer a little bit. And then I'll think, this moment at this age will never happen again.
Mm,
And I let it go.
mm,
And each time it teaches me compassion and patience. And I I'm grateful to her for her capacity to teach me that, even though I know it's me teaching myself that lesson. But I need that challenge from somebody I cannot lash out at, and I would never lash out at, so I can practice patience and compassion for the whole world, right? So that, when she was born, when her head emerged, I was the first human on the planet to see her head emerge. I realized, okay, my ego is irrelevant. Everything I've done, all my striving to be the rock star of the planet and be desired by all the women out there and all that stuff, is completely irrelevant. This thing, this person now, is my priority, and the person that I will love until the day I die. And I love myself. I think I'm pretty cool, but I love her. If it was the train track dilemma, and she was on one rein and it was 10 of me on the other, it would be 10 of me in a second. There wouldn't be consideration, you know? So Phoebe is the light of my life. That, again, I'm sorry, I get off track quite easily.
Tangents are very welcome, always. Especially lovely ones when you're discussing, the people that you truly love, and that's really beautiful.
Yeah, she's magnificent. I'm very lucky.
I remember seeing an album actually named after her.
Oh, yeah, Phoebe. Those are all the songs I wrote when she was sleeping on my lap.
Oh.
She was a babe. She was a baby, so I was just playing on my laptop, and because you can't. I don't know whether you have a cat or a dog or a baby, or what, if you have any of those things and they fall asleep on you. That's probably, if I have a maternal side, that's probably the only time where I'm just like, you can't move your arm even though it's fallen asleep, because you don't want to disturb the human or animal that's sitting on you, because that's the most precious moment in the world. They trust. It's trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's joy, so I'm getting old.
Oh, no. I am too. It's very beautiful. I was envisioning that very precious time, because you were talking about like this is the one moment in time, and just like how incredibly beautiful it is that you were translating music as you were experiencing that.
It was quiet ambient music, so it would help her sleep, and just it's drifty. It's quite good. I mean, I'd say it was I did it one-handed mostly, because she'd be lying here, I'd be doing it on the laptop, and playing synths, and just so I like it. It's a nice record. It's a purely ambient. There's no songs on it, but it
Does
was
she
written.
does she listen to it now, or has she heard it?
I don't think she's ever heard it, to be honest. She is not really that interested in my musical exploits. She's
Mm.
very, very proud of me when she comes to a show, and she knows all my songs off by heart, because, of course, I'm mixing them and listening to them back on different speakers all the time. So she knows all my songs, but she's much more into the Beatles. And I'm sorry to say Taylor Swift, who is not my favorite, but she loves Taylor Swift. She loves Sarah Maddock. Like, it's kid stuff, and Sarah Maddock's great. I love her. She's a funny sort of rapper who raps kids songs, but really cool. They're very cool and very fun.
I don't think I've heard any of her stuff, but that's awesome.
It's for kids. I
Yeah,
think it would be something you'd have to have a kid. Do you have any kids?
I don't.
No, no. You'd have to have a kid to be forced to listen to it. But once you get
Yeah.
into it, there's songs like The Story of a Worm, and it's silly, but it's really well produced. And she's clearly wholeheartedly embraced this role that she has as being this like quirky rap thing, and it's really cool and wholesome. So I like wholesome
Oh,
music.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned like that you didn't really write music that was like in the joy because you're experiencing the joy.
Mm.
And so it's really cool when you have other artists that can do that for you, or you're like, I am in the joy of like expressing for children, and you
Yeah,
know.
like Raffi and people like that. It's like there is so
Mhm.
much like absence of cynicism. And I mean, in reality, if you listen to music by adults, there are very few songs or artists who can really express that kind of calm joy. And the one of them is Kate Bush. I mean, if you listen to her album Ariel, which is just basically her chatting about a day in England, just sitting around doing nothing, talking to the birds, and then she imitates a whole bunch of bird song. She's really fucking weird. However, this is one of the most joyful, like happy, wonderful feelings you get from listening to the record. It's just so calm and full. There's this. There's a twinge to everything Kate Bush does of melancholy, which appeals to me as the sort of goth. I'm not a goth, but it's got that goth twinge. But what she does is she talks about it or sings about it, sorry, in this way. So as you're also elevated and it's like a gigantic warm hug from the mother universe, listening to Kate Bush at her best. And some of the songs, I mean, they're just, no artist can express loss or melancholy the same way Kate Bush does, because she's so invested in it. It doesn't matter what the song is in terms of commerciality or anything like that. Now she's earned the right to just do whatever she wants. So when you listen to her music, it is rambling and it's insane, but it is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. And I love that. There's no artist, maybe Leonard Cohen touches that sometimes, but no other artist can really do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, I don't want to be, you know, kind of weird about it, but I think it's because she's a woman. I think there isn't the same sentiment. I don't think you're allowed to have the same approach as a man in music. It's like it doesn't sort of, and I'm not complaining being a man in music, don't get me wrong in any sense, that's not what I'm trying to convey. It's just that I haven't heard that many men who will deal with the same emotional tones. Robert Smith maybe a little bit, but Kate Bush is just one of a kind, stands outside of everything, you know, and I'd love to meet. My friend was invited to see her play the last series of shows, and I really wanted to go. And I was just really bummed because I applied for tickets, couldn't get them because obviously they sold out in a microsecond. And I missed all the shows because I couldn't go. And they were in London, so that was another problem. But my friend said, "Oh yeah, I had VIP. I could have given you mine." And I was like, the silent scream in my head, like, "Why didn't you tell me?" Anyway,
it wasn't meant to be yet.
Right. Well, let's hope she does another series of shows. That would be nice. It seems unlikely, honestly, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll sing on one of my records one day.
Ooh, see? This is where the intersection will happen.
Right? She's only had Prince and, you know. Anyway.
Well, the reality is still young, so we shall see.
Sure. I mean, I've not written anything. I mean, I've worked with Mike Garson. I mean, Mike is one of the greatest pianists in the history of ever. He played all over. He was with Bowie for a long time, 35 years or something. He played with Bowie, and he illuminated the Aladdin Sane album, and he's on my new record.
Wow.
No biggie. And Carmine, of course, Carmine Rojas, who played bass on Let's Dance and went on tour for that whole Glass Spider tour and the Serious Moonlight tour. He's on my record too. It's like, this is amazing. I mean, you know, David J. I mean, these are people I shouldn't be able to reach because I'm not a star and I have never had a hit. But they like my music enough to offer their services. I mean, I'm honored. I'm so honored. But I'm also kind of, smug is the wrong word, but it's like, okay, my music is good. Look, these guys think it is, you know. Come on, world, listen.
No, it's really incredible when you have these experiences that it's like you're working with people that you've either been like, oh my gosh, I know who this person is, and they have all these incredible bodies of work that they've done, or just moments in time where you're like, wow, it's like a reflection of like, I think I'm on the right path. right?
Oh, sure. No, it totally feels like that. I mean, and so right now feels like that for me because the greatest hit record, which is, as I say, I might put greatest hits in quotations. And I mean, it sounds great. It's actually going to get marketing. I've never marketed anything really. I mean, and it's my bad because, you know, I've had the money in the past to do it. I just don't know how to do it. So I'm going to trust that a record label with their infrastructure, David Chatfield's Harmony Records, has the capacity to do it and can help. Because, you know, honestly, the people I do reach with my music, and I'm not pretending I don't have any fans, because I do have people who appreciate it. Dan Sholek, for example, has been very supportive and is one of those people. I mean, clearly the quality is there. And when they are fans, they are real fans. Like, they don't listen to one song and go, this is a one-hit wonder. They listen to the entire body of my work, which is incredibly flattering. I really feel wonderful because of that. It's you know, and that's a blessing, and I accept it graciously, and so there must be other people out there too. It's just nobody's ever told them about the work, so still got time.
Yes. Oh, let's see. Isidro says, have you ever played Moonlight Sonata around dogs and cats, or any animal for that matter? I was told classical music, including Moonlight Sonata, will make the mind and body relax.
I've played Moonlight Sonata many times because that was a song from a B-side by Depeche Mode, so I learned to play it. I have never played it live, but I will tell you, Clair de Lune, which moon and loon have a tie-in together, by Debussy, is Phoebe's sleepy song.
Oh,
Anytime I wanted her to go to sleep, which if you have a baby, you know what that means, I would go in the car, put on Moonlight Sonata, and she would be out. It's Pavlovian conditioning that you use to make kids go to sleep. And Moonlight Sonata is hers. And I play that. I've played it to her on the piano, and she starts crying now because she's like,
oh.
I'm not sleepy, Daddy. I'm sorry, she's 11. She doesn't cry now. She's just like, oh, Dad, it's not bedtime.
Yeah, I've had this similar. Moonlight Sonata is my all-time favorite classical piece, and that's actually what got me into playing classical piano, because that
Oh,
was
you
the
play
song
too?
that. Oh, I do. Yeah, that's my
What
first instrument.
what do you play? What is your favorite thing aside from Moonlight Sonata, of course? Is it
Besides
Beethoven,
Moonlight
Mozart,
Sonata,
Chopin?
Beethoven is my all-time favorite to play, and Mozart's my favorite to sing.
Right. Oh, I mean, they're
Yeah.
the classics, aren't they? So it was always Debussy for me because Debussy
Mm.
is he's kind of the textural guy. He's the Cure of or the Cocteau Twins of classical music to me. And you know, so I played a lot of his work when I was learning classical piano. I mean, now I peck at the keys as much. I mean, I can play fine, but it's not how I was. I mean, you know, it's been a long time since I practiced classical piano. Do you still practice
I do. I do. Yeah.
every day?
Every day.
Three
Every
hours a
day.
day?
Not 3 hours, but it is like a form of meditation for me. There's something about like when I run my songs and my exercises and scales, like it actually like really makes me feel grounded. So that's like a form of meditation for me.
I envy you. I really should. I really should. And thank you for inspiring me to do so. Because I was, for a while, I picked up Arabesque, the Arabesque song by Debussy, and Alla Turca, Rondo alla Turca by Mozart. And I was practicing them. And Moonlight Sonata. And I was getting better. And I was getting back to the fluidity and the facility in the fingers. Because you know, you lose that if you don't practice. It starts feeling not like muscle memory. It starts feeling like a challenge. And I was getting there, and this is last year. And then all sorts of things were happening, and I was still on tour, and you know,
Mm.
it just stops you doing it. And then I got a new keyboard, and my keyboard started not working. So I was like, I don't, and that's a good excuse for me not to do it. And there's no excuse. It's like, if that's your instrument, if that's what you do for a living, you should do what you're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's because I play keyboards for other people and I sing on different things, and
Mhm.
sometimes I'll be more vocally active, sometimes I'll be more keyboard active, but I try to make that a daily practice. Like obviously I can't do that on tour. Um,
Right, right. Well, I
but I do
mean,
understand.
are you playing piano live on stage with
Um,
Alice?
there's one song that I do keyboards with, but most of the time, actually, Scott and Gordon, they'll play bass and guitar and synth at the same time.
I see.
And then we also have a keyboard player as well, so we have many synths on stage.
Because I don't remember seeing you play piano. That's why I
Hmm.
was surprised. I didn't know Alice Tash, but that's good. I mean I really feel like I've got the leisure time now. I'm not touring so much to do that and just get better because I I used to find meditative reasoning in it, but also I have my daughter around, so she doesn't want to hear me practice. Have you ever seen Yuja Wang play?
No.
She's so there's two pianists I've seen recently, last 10 years, Lang Lang, who is the best pianist on the face of the planet currently, and Yuja Wang, who is the best female pianist on the planet at the moment, and she is absolutely magnificent. If you ever get the chance, Yuja Wang.
Mm. Oh, I will definitely check that out. Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'm seeing oh, Isidro is also a fellow keyboardist, pianist as well. That's awesome. It's always wonderful to meet fellow musicians who find the joy.
Sure, sure. I mean, piano's an art, isn't it? I mean, it's different. It's different than playing a guitar. It's like I think there's a lot more feel to a piano than a guitar because there's a lot more levels of. Do you have a piano at home or is it a keyboard?
Hmm. I have
Pro-
both. I have both. Yeah,
Oh, you're
I write on both. I tend to gravitate towards the piano. I've written some stuff on guitar, but it really does channel a different vibe.
oh,
Um,
sure, sure. It's
yeah,
the difference between Kate Bush and uh, Bruce Springsteen. Like
yeah,
Bruce is a guitar, Kate's a piano, and
yeah, absolutely.
I won't put Elton John in the mix because I don't really like him. I some songs, but it's just very it's not. I don't know. I should. Everybody who likes the things I like likes Elton John, and I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah, no, and I think like you mentioned something earlier. I think it really doesn't matter what the instrument is. It's just the fact that it's an expression, like whatever medium that you choose. Um,
Yeah, I mean
you know.
this is true. I mean, I don't want to diminish the effect of the guitar. It's just I think it's a principally don't want to use this term again. It's like I think the guitar's a male instrument and the piano's a female instrument. I hate to be, there is no duality in that. I just think that they have different functions psychologically. That's for me they
Yeah.
do. Okay, I'm just going
Hmm.
to narrow that. For me, they have different functions.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I feel like even just the physicality where it's like the way that you produce the music versus, you know,
Sure,
from
sure.
different instruments. Yeah,
Feels
absolutely.
like an ocean, a piano. You have an
Hmm.
ocean in
Yeah.
front of you. With a guitar, you have a I don't want to say what it came to mind immediately, but it isn't an ocean.
Yes, it's not an ocean. Uh, I know that you have you mentioned your art show that's coming up. Do you have any other shows with your other projects that you're going to be doing?
So, okay, I'll have to look at my calendar. Actually, I actually playing with my daughter's school band on Friday this week. But nobody's welcome to come. And then, then I'm playing at the Tiki Bar in the OC on the 14th, which is Thursday next week, which is a Bowie show. It's the whole of Station to Station in full. That's the one we just did at 3 clubs, and plus
Mm.
other hits. Playing with Yaz Razor, which is a Yazoo and Razor Erasure. Sorry, Yaz. She's called in this, yeah, Yaz and Erasure tribute. And then on Saturday the 16th, we're in Fullerton 80s Bar. Woohoo! Then the 29th of this month, we're in the Monty Bar, the Ladytron after show party. That's my original music. And then June the 6th, we're in Lancaster, big shops, with my Bowie band. Then the art gallery opening show is June the 11th, and then I'll stop there because that's an overwhelming amount of information for anybody listening. But I'll put a graphic together because I haven't yet.
You have a lot coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I just stopped touring with another band, which was my principal income. So I've just got to. I don't do anything else. I'm just a musician. So and you know how hard that can be to survive on. I mean, even these shows are not going to come close to being livable, but I'm building it up. And my Bowie band, which is my principal source of income, to be honest. I mean, we're really good and we're quite popular. We just need to start the process. You know how it is. You have to book 3 months out.
Mm-hmm.
And I started booking a couple of weeks ago. So even though there are shows in the pipeline, they are 3 months out, 4 months out, 5 months out. So, and I mean, I've been around a while. People have goodwill towards me as an artist in general. So it'll be fine. It just takes a bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, are you the one that's doing all of the booking?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
a
lot of
lot.
work.
It
Mm-hmm.
is. It is. I
I
do the
put the
booking
band
myself, so
together.
I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can
Mm-hmm.
trade information because I need to, have a wider scope. In fact, we should do some shows together. That'll be really
I would
fun.
love it. I would
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, both
Yeah.
Bowie and originals. I mean, I could open with originals. It could be Alice, and then it could be the Bowie band because we have a bit. Obviously, the Bowie band brings in a built-in audience of Bowie fans. Luckily, because the Bowie fans in LA have been coming to my shows for the last, 10, 15 years. And they all watched my pandemic shows. I used to do acoustic and electronic based Bowie live streams. And so I had a lot of people like Dan Sholek, I believe, found me through that. And I would do every week, I'd do a whole set of Bowie originals, and people during the pandemic were starved of information and fun things to do. So they would watch me across the country and the world, just watch me play the Bowie covers that I was doing. And it was the response was heartfelt and overwhelming because people really, really loved that I was doing it. So it was totally worth it for me because I was bored as well. I was in the pandemic, right? So it was wonderful to be able to do that. And they were requests. That's why I've played 100 of Bowie songs, because people would request songs and I'd learn the song, and I'd learn 7 or 8 songs a week for people to play them on the show. And so it was a wonderful way of connecting with people. And as I said, I love connecting with people. It's a joy. I'm not shy. I'm quite gregarious and garrulous, as you probably figured out.
Dan is also mentioning your live stream request shows. Having seen your live stream request shows playing acoustic piano or guitar for the same songs, it's really interesting to see how the songs are the same but different.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you very much. Dan has come to see me play in Singularity shirts. Most times, in fact, it was really, there was a dark time when he would turn up and it would make the time a lot lighter. So thank you, Dan. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, learning Bowie songs is not easy. I had the chance to learn Hunky Dory and Diamond Dogs as a
The album
keyboardist.
shows.
Yes.
You did the album shows. Is that the ones at the King
At
King?
King. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I auditioned for that and I didn't get the gig. Not piano, vocals.
Well, I am so sorry because I think you're incredible.
Oh no. It was fine. It was the wrong fit at the time because I was on tour, so it would have been a difficult thing for me to commit to it. But I would love to have done it. I did a Diamond Dogs show of my own at Bourbon with the band that Fell to Earth, and that was
wow,
so good. Sweet Thing. And you're a piano player, right? So you're getting to do Mike Garson. That is, there's some challenging stuff on that record.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So I'm impressed.
It was very educational because to really learn. I mean, you mentioned also your Depeche Mode cover band. I've played keys in a Depeche Mode cover band as well. And when you actually learn like the layers that go into a song,
Hmm.
because you know, I think when we listen to a song, we can attune our ears maybe to the vocals or to the guitar, like whatever it is. But when you're really peeling back the layers and learning the individual parts, it's like, wow, this is brilliant.
Well, I mean, the things with Depeche Mode and Alan Wilder was a brilliant contrapuntalist. Like he knew counterpoint very well, electronic counterpoint, which is taking, obviously Bach style, classical and count. People who don't know counterpoint, it's like Bach style interweaving lines, little lines interwoven, and then you discover how brilliant he was, because he could take a song that was played very, very rudimentarily by Martin on acoustic or organ sound or whatever, and visualize it as punctual notes. And that's the genius that he had. He's like taking it into that realm. And I played Alan's parts in the Depeche Mode thing that I did. And unfortunately, everything was also on the track. So nothing that I did was really relevant. And it felt a bit like karaoke to me. So it was draining my will to do it. But,
Mm,
I did play everything, and I played along, and I played all his parts, and I developed it so it was exactly what he was playing, because I'd watched video of him, but it was all irrelevant. So if you can't take the parts off, you're just playing on the top of a track, which feels just disingenuous to me musically. So that's one of the reasons why I was fired, because I complained about it. But I respect the process, because I've tried to do the same with some of my music, because obviously I've learned a lot from that process of studying what he did. And I mean, I learned it ineffectually, and I'm pleased with the results. But his genius cannot be understated. He was the sonic architect of some of the greatest music of all time. And when they lost him, the band devolved into a much more prosaic rock band. And
mm,
even though they get great producers to work with them, they don't have the taste and nuance that was brought by Alan Wilder. I mean, Songs of Faith and Devotion was the last record which he was involved with, and it's the high point of music. That's probably my North Star for what I would like to have as one of my records. It is absolutely brilliant from start to finish, and it's rock and roll, and it's guitar, and it's heavy, but it's also sumptuous and sexy and brutal. It's all of the things on one album. I mean, Violate is great and it has hits on it, but Songs of Faith and Devotion, the song Higher Love, it itself is their high point, because it has a complete and utter switch halfway through where it goes into a totally different key through a weird progression. It's like, and they don't have a Station to Station or a Paranoid Android. Higher Love is that. And
yeah.
Higher Love is so sexy. Like, oh, like and we played it when I was the Martin in the band for a while. I was the Martin had a cancer thing, so I had to cover Martin for
Mm,
a while. So I put extra songs in the set while he was away, and Higher Love was one of them, because everybody wanted it. Everybody in the
yeah.
band wanted it, and we loved playing it. He came back, took it out, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gosh, I mean, I feel like it's amazing actually certain songs where you're like, "Oh wow, I that's another really great one." And there's certain bands that I think can be attuned to having tribute bands for them because there's just such a body of work that's so good,
And
you
so
know.
varied. I mean,
Yeah.
Bowie is a very good example. Like Bowie is you can and I was just discussing this today. It's like Bowie has a big gay following because the Ziggy character was gay or bisexual or whatever, and he was very into the costuming and things. So that's very fashion forward. You've got the Thin White Duke, who's this icy, emotionally verklempt guy, as we mentioned earlier. Then you've got the Let's Dance Bowie. So Bowie was all things to all people throughout his career. He was arty as hell because of, One Outside and Black Star. Like whatever sort of music you like he was funky, like, and
Hmm.
soulful, like Young Americans. So there is one song by Bowie that you can play to anybody where they're going to go grudgingly, oh, okay, I do like David Bowie. And there are no artists like that. Maybe the Beatles, but there are no other artists that can do that. Kate Bush is really weird. So there are not very many songs by her, except Running Up That Hill, perhaps, that everybody would like. It's fine, but she's one of the greatest. Prince was another one. I've undersold the influence Prince had on me, because I adore Prince. It's just he's not the songwriting North Star for me. He's the auteur North Star. Like Prince did everything himself, and he did it in such a way so it doesn't matter that it's just him. Nothing was lacking in quality. His bass playing was the best bass player in the world. His drumming, he was the best drummer in the world. His programming, his best programmer, best synth player, best guitar player, best singer, best dancer. God, what's wrong with this guy? He's so brilliant in every way. Like, but that's also daunting. And his high points stopped, and he continued making music which, with great musicians, but never made a record as good as when he made it all on his own. That's my opinion. As soon as he invited the best musicians in the world, it ironed out the creases and the shortcuts that he used to make his own music sound great, because they were so great they could do anything at the drop of a hat. So it became a bit more anodyne, and that's a pity.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about, the artists that we were talking about, and some of them are no longer with us. And gosh, it's like you really never know when it's your time, right? And I don't imagine anybody, like, when they're setting out and creating, like, if they'll know, like, this is how many albums that I'm going to have written.
I
Yeah.
saw I saw an interview with Tony Visconti where he implied, and I could be reading this wrong, that Bowie did not know that Black Star was going to be his last album, and that he
Mm.
had plans past Black Star to make more albums, and he had that EP No Plan, which was ready to go, and it was supposed to presage some more stuff. And although it was a beautifully, as the press likes to spin it, orchestrated final record, and there's lots of clues that he's never going to be with us again. It's very possible that wasn't necessarily the case. And I mean, that year started with Lemmy, if I remember. Bowie went January the 9th, 10th, something like that. Prince, Leonard Cohen, Muhammad Ali, and George Michael went in 2016.
Wow.
Like that's the worst year for music deaths that there could ever be. I mean, that is 5 major heavyweights in their
Yeah.
genre. Like Lemmy, if you don't like speed metal, Lemmy's name, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Yeah.
don't like art rock, Bowie's name. If you don't like funk, Prince's name. If you don't like miserable raincoat music, which is Leonard's one of my favorite. I'm just being facetious there, but you would know Leonard Cohen's name. And then George Michael, obviously everybody knows George Michael's name because he was so huge. Those are the heavyweights, literally, with Muhammad Ali's case, in our world, gone in 1 year. That was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. It's wild. Like, gosh, this was pre-pandemic too. I remember when it was like back to back, where it's like, oh
Yeah,
wow, this is, yeah.
yeah, and there aren't many left. I mean, hang on to Kate Bush and Tom York is all I'm saying. Paul McCartney. I
Yeah.
mean, Paul. Let's not make this a Deadpool. Paul's up there in age, right? So it's not. It would be expected. Mick Jagger, but those guys were not old enough to be lost then. This is 10 years ago. The heavyweights of music all passed.
Yeah.
Wow, I've taken this to a dark. The shadow self is creeping in.
We're delving in the shadows now, folks.
Right, exactly. Let's write a song about how happy they are in heaven. I don't know.
Yes, yes. No, but I was thinking about how, like, important and vital it is just to continue to make your work while you are here, because you really just we really never know, you know.
Sure. And I
Yeah.
have so much. I have vaults like Prince, which I haven't quite finished the song, and it's like, probably another 100 or so, which are unreleased at the moment. And I will, if there were, I mean, can't predict these things, but I will give instructions if there's any chance I know to somebody. I'll just say, look, I want to finish all this stuff, and I want you to release it at least as a legacy item, for the
Yeah.
7 people who listen to my stuff, like Dan.
I have a feeling it's more than seven.
70. All right, fair enough. I won't be
No, but I mean, I think that's well, it's inspiring that you've shared that songwriting is a regular part of your life. And that's probably why you've been so prolific. It's just that it's a regular practice for you.
Well, it's meditative. Like you were saying, your meditation is playing the piano. My meditation is recording. And when I can interweave that synth with that fretless bass line and put the drums on that have that right groove, that's a almost hyper focused, maybe it's ADD. I don't know. As I say, I don't know if I'm not neurodivergent or not, but it's something that hyper focuses, and it calms, and it gets rid of all the cortisol inside. This is my realm. I know what I'm doing. It's the only thing in my world that I know what I'm doing. I know that this will work with this because I've been, what is it, 10,000 hours, they say. I mean,
Hmm.
I've done my 100,000 hours at this point, and I feel good. I mean, like the Station to Station album I recorded, I mean, it's like every single song from the ground up was one take on every instrument. Not every instrument, that's a bit of a lie, but most of it was one take, because I know the songs inside out. And I just wanted to put down something that was, because I know that Station to Station was an album that he made under the influence very much in Los Angeles with some brilliant musicians. And I know they did it in one take and they recorded it. Harry Maslin, who produced the album, I'm just going to humble brag now, told me that my Golden Years cover was the best he'd ever heard. And
Mm.
he produced the original Station to Station. I'm like, because I remember recording it in one take, every part, just know that part, know that part, and then it was done. And I wanted not to correct anything. I just wanted it to come as it was, because also it's not my music. So although I'm spending the time to mix it and make it sound good, I also don't want to like overplay my role in it. So it had to feel like a flow. And I'm very pleased with it. It sounds great. And all the fans I've sent it to have said they enjoy it. So I feel like I did an okay job. So
Well, I'm really excited to hear what your future music is going to sound like. I was curious if you remember the first song you ever wrote and what
I
that was
do.
about.
Oh yeah, no, I do. It was called Rain. I lived in the north of England at the time. And it was a desperate attempt to sound like The Cure. I had the album The Top, and I'd heard The Forest, obviously, because that was really popular. It was I had The Top on cassette, and I had Japanese Whispers, my first CD I ever bought, which is great. It's a great little EP. Do you know The Cure? Of course you know
I
The
do.
Cure, but do you
I
know
know The
that
Cure.
album, Japanese Whispers?
Mm-mm, I
It's the
don't.
one with Love Cats, The Walk, Let's Go to Bed, and then it has all the B-sides. And the B-sides were my favorite, but I was desperate. Oh, and I had Staring at the Sea or Standing on the Beach, whichever one was the CD of the greatest hits. And of course, The Forest is a brilliant song. So I wrote about being at boarding school, not specifically at boarding school, but I wrote about being in a room, watching the rain and thinking about death, because this is what The Cure would do, right? And it's terrible. So I would never play it to anybody. But but I got better.
So I think you said around 400 songs.
Right?
So yes, yes.
When the anthology comes out, that one will not be on it.
I think that's amazing though. Yeah, gosh, every song that's created is its own journey and marks its own little chapter in history in a person's life and experience. So,
I've just put together, pertaining to that, I've just put together a lyrics and autobiography book, which I just put the lyrics in, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sell this as part of the process. You know, I put a nice hardback book together and pictures of me, the nice ones. And then I realized, okay, I'm going to write about the stories of each of the songs. And then I realized the songs are my diary.
mm.
And if I know and read the song lyrics, because I have to look at the lyrics, because otherwise I don't remember, because these are songs I wrote over 5 years ago. Imagine that. And so I can remember and I can see the progression of the lyric writing, because I was a terrible lyricist when I started, because I was just, trying to make things fit the music. And then, I read the lyric, but I remember where I was when I was writing that lyric. And so I can remember who I was hanging out with, where in London it was, because generally I started writing properly in London. No, that's not true. I started writing in York, but the good stuff started coming in London. And I would write the stuff and I would encapsulate where I was. So the whole book, I've done the first 2 years of songwriting, and I've written that story, because it's a daunting task, because I'm over 25 years old. That's a long time to be writing songs. And so that is going to be the autobiography. It's going to be lyrics threaded with the story of where I was, not necessarily pertaining to the lyrics specifically, but sometimes referencing them, because that is the diary I kept. And because we don't have, we didn't have phone with geotagging or locations, I have to look at contemporary photographs and lyrics to really understand what was going on in my brain. And so there are a few people who have expressed an interest, my daughter and my mother, and maybe my stepfather.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like it's going to be really, really special. I mean, I feel like most artists that I've chatted with, like it's like you do remember where you are, when you've written a song, like you were saying, like who you were with, like the surroundings. And gosh, there's certain artists, like certain songs that just hit you, or you're like, what were they doing at the time? And I find it fascinating, like what was Kate Bush doing when she was creating Running Up the Hill? And,
I've, I've seen such a funny interview with her where she talks about it. She says, she says, what's running up that hill about? She says, oh, it's about a hill. And he says, have you ever run up a hill? She says, oh no, I don't even know what a hill is. Don't ask me that question. And I'm like, okay. And she's not a difficult woman. I mean, you watch any interview and she's very charming and wonderful, but that clearly, she was on a bad day or something. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, it is fascinating. I mean, and I love doing interviews like this, Tash, because I probably sent you the link of I've done so many podcasts and things like that, and I love it because it makes me understand more about what my process is and all that stuff. Because I never talk. My daughter doesn't care or want to hear about my process of lyric writing. I mean, I help her write songs herself, but
Oh.
I give her little instructions, but I don't get to talk about music with that many people in my life. I mean, it's changing now. I'm back in LA because I'm meeting with more musicians and more musicians who are interested in playing with me, for example. And so that's wonderful. And I do get to talk about music. But as far as talking about my own stuff, unless I am given a platform in which to do it, it feels very conceited and sort of self-serving. So thank you for the opportunity. I mean, it's nice to
Oh,
do it.
yes. Thank you for taking the time. It's, gosh, I absolutely think it's a gift to get to talk to artists like yourself, and especially like when you're like really devoted, like there's a devotion to your work, there's a devotion to your muse, to your creativity, and and not just, you know, the way that you've created your own songs, but the way that you have emulated other artists, the way that you've created with other artists as well. I think there's a devotion that has to happen. There's a dedication. And you mentioned the 100,000 hours that you've put into it,
Right.
but it's incredible to meet people who like have dedicated themselves with that focus and that love. you know?
I mean, I think you have to. I think there are people who have to make music, right? I mean, I think you're one of them. And you know, David J is very inspiring. He had his last hit however many decades ago, and he is still out there. He's playing these shows with jazz shows. He's playing with these, really interesting people around the world, and constantly playing and writing songs constantly and releasing stuff constantly, because he is music. It's not just in him. He is it. And he's poet. He's a poet as much as he's a musician. And he needs to express all of those things constantly. It's not, how can I make money? It is because, I've written some backing tracks for him where it's Love and Rockets revisited, right? Or The Cure sounding. And I've really wanted him to work on it, because it's like, let's give this to the goth clubs and watch them dance to your new single. He absolutely does not want to do that, because he's got his muse, and he is so dedicated to his muse that he's redefined other people's expectations of him. Or it's irrelevant what you expect of David. He's just going to do what he does, and he doesn't pay any mind to how what people expect. He doesn't care, and I aspire to that. I mean, if I could just tour with the music I have and just he does living room shows a lot. That's one of his, models, is he goes to people's homes and he does a show, and, there'll be obviously big Bauhaus fans, big Love and Rockets fans, and he'll play to, I can't speak to this, it's probably 100 people or whatever in somebody's living room, and they've got David J in there, which is amazing. And they want David J in there. Now, I would do that if people wanted me there. I would do it in a heartbeat, because, as I say, I love connecting. And when you're on a stage, like the Wiltern stage, for example, was the biggest show I've done with my solo music. I mean, I've done many House of Blues, but the Wiltern is obviously, it's a heartland for me. And for us, it's a big show in LA. And though it was wonderful and really vindicating, because I got the whole place going with the music they'd never heard before, it isn't connecting in the same way, because you're not meeting the people. They're watching you. It's you have to give, but you're sort of taking that from them in some ways. It's like taking their admiration and just appreciating it. And I really like meeting people after the shows and talking to them and hearing what they have to say, because I realize I'm talking a lot in this interview, and I'm talking, not really letting you say that much, but I mean, it is an interview with me, so I feel vindicated in doing that. But when I'm backstage or after the show, I really want to hear about the people I'm talking to, and I allow them to speak a lot more, and I want to listen fully to what they have to say, because it's fascinating. If you meet somebody in Alabama, what does a person in Alabama, what's their preconceived notions? What are they thinking? Or how do they react to certain things? And it can be challenging sometimes. I mean, you've toured, so it's like you meet wonderful people, and sometimes you meet people who have questionable views. But I want to know all of those things, and I want to know why, and I want to know about them, and I want to know what inspires them. I want to know in some ways it's market research for me, and what my song's going to be next. But mostly it's just because I'm fascinated. Like how you walk down the street and you don't notice the 73 people that are on the same street. Sometimes I'll walk down the street and I'll look at each of them, and I will have, what's it called, sonder, the understanding that they have a complex and complicated emotional life that's the same as yours, and it's in so many different directions that it's just unfathomable that there are 8 billion of us, and we are all inspired and reflected by our experiences. And that is a diamond facet. Everybody is a diamond facet in so many ways, and it's fascinating to me. So I want to know about everybody. What I find difficult is when I meet somebody who just wants to hear about me, because I'm bored of me. I've lived me all my life. So I want to know about them, and they don't get the chance to go up on the stage and express themselves. So let's do it now. let's tell me
Mhm.
about the last time you saw Depeche Mode, or the last time you saw Bowie, or how it inspired you, or by Rebel Rebel. I mean, whatever it is, it's like I sit and I center and I go, okay, this is fascinating. This for them is an opportunity that isn't for me an opportunity. It's like it is, because you meet so many people as an artist. It's like these people, that's that was very divisive saying these people, but the people that I meet don't have the stage, so it is interesting to hear what they have to say, and that what is what drives me. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like the beauty of live music is that it is like such a it's almost like an infinite mirror, where you like you've created this music that reflects your life in a particular moment or your thoughts in a particular moment, and then you're performing it on stage, and then there's other people there that reflect it back to you because they have their own experience of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then the infinite circle happens as well when they share who they are with you and you are converging in that moment.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of describing it. An infinity mirror of experience. I think that's a good way, especially when you're sharing. I mean, do you, you don't do tribute or cover generally, right? Just mostly
Not
Alice.
anymore. I did we did the two Bowie albums, and then I dipped my foot in the Depeche Mode cover band.
Hmm.
But now we just do covers. So on
Right.
occasion like covers, but yeah, I haven't done anything like that since.
But you have the experience, and I know you've been around for a while doing Alice, so you must have people who know all the songs, right? And they
Hmm.
will sing the songs at your shows. I mean, how do you feel when that happens? It must be a sense of community and joy and connection and all those things. I mean,
Yeah.
I have very few people who. I mean, there are a few, but it's not that many because I haven't been present for a long time on the live circuit, and that is one of the most rewarding things. It's like the Church of Alice. You know what I mean? It's like those people and you can trust that those people in the audience are generally going to be really excellent people with good taste and who are sweet of heart and mind in some way. That's you get to create your circumstance by projecting your way of looking at things songwriting wise, right? And I mean, I've had a weird, and this is, I mean, pardon me, anybody who's watching who is a fan. I have one song which I wrote for JC Chazez, who was a member of NSYNC, right? And I was never really an NSYNC guy. I didn't know them because I was in England. And I met JC and we were writing songs together. And he's a wonderful guy. It's really a proper musical artist. Like NSYNC does not reflect the brilliance of JC Chazez in any sense. So I wrote this song for him. He had always told me, oh, I love Prince. I need a song that's going to work for me. So I wrote this naughty song inspired by Prince. And I played it to people in my house that I was shared house I was living in at the time. And they said, okay, you can't give this to JC. You should keep this. It's the best thing you've ever done. And now that is my biggest song and it represents me. So
Mm.
people who listen to it, it's called Wetter. And it's about, loving trysts, maybe more than loving. And it now represents me to a lot of people who come at me from a kind of sexualized perception of who I am. And I created that. And I'm far more than just my looks, madam. You know what I mean? So, it defines people to you. Like, imagine if you're Trent Reznor taking your kids to school, and somebody says, "Will you join can we play one of your hits? Can you play one of our hits in front of the whole school?" It's not going to be closer, is it?
No.
You know what I mean?
No. No.
So it was an interesting experience. Like, I create what with the music that I write, I create the expectation from the people that approach me about it. So the people
Mm.
that approach me about songs that I write with a whole heart and that heart on the sleeve, beautiful, loving songs, which is what the greatest hits is mostly, by the way. That's what I'm doing now this year. With the loving songs, I bring loving, kind-hearted people. Like Dan is a loving, kind-hearted dude. Like, he's been a fan for a while and love him dearly. He's a wonderful man, and his son is a lovely guy too. And so those songs bring in those people. Now, if I write a cynical song about people being nasty, I will bring people who have been hurt like being in a Depeche Mode cover band, you'll be bringing in people who have a degree of dissatisfaction and melancholy that they exhibit in their whole being,
Yeah.
and that's, and I don't repudiate that in any way, because I am a bit like that. But you have to be careful what you put out into the universe sometimes, because you don't want it to reflect, you don't want to wish the universe to bring you something that you don't actually reflect. So my song Wetter and my sexuality are not entwined. It does not define who I want to meet. Like, I don't always want to meet people who are hypersexualized, because there's a lot more to the catalog. But if that's the only song they like or know, that is the people that I bring in. So I realize now what I give out will always come back. And of course, it's a rule of magic and all that stuff. So it's from the Bible. Like, this is wisdom of the ages. Like, and I've just put music out about all the things, and which one hits you cannot control.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, it is so beautiful to see when something resonates with someone, and it's so interesting to see how I recently went to a book signing with the creator of The Fountain. Um, my brain is squished, so I'm trying to remember his name. Thank
Aronofsky.
you, Aronofsky. And yeah, and he was talking about just sort of like, yeah, the idea of the things that you put out, and what it resonates, how it resonates with people. And he was like, I actually have noticed like certain works of mine resonate with certain people. He's like, I've noticed that people that are really into super like the tech behind it are really into like my
Pi.
Noah story. Yes, and
Is
there's
it
different
Pi?
ones.
Right.
Yeah, there's Pi as well. There's Pi.
Yeah.
So there's Pi, Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, he's like, and there's different people that will resonate with different films that I've put out. And same with
Requiem,
your
I
songs.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you just never know what you've put out, like how it will connect with a person. But yeah,
His
there is.
his work is phenomenal. I love Aronofsky. Have you seen Mother? Because oh no, it's not Mother. Is von Trier, isn't it? What was the last Aronofsky? Because I haven't seen it. I can't
I'm
anyway.
not sure. Yeah.
No, I watch. I mean, if it's got Aronofsky on the title, I watch it because I love his work. It's just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant. So, but
And
yeah, like it's
the
just
Fountain. Oof, I love that one.
all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's, certain things will resonate with people in different ways, and you never know, how it
Well,
will. So,
it's resonance, but it's also, it rewires who you are, and it rewires who you can expect to bring into your life. I only say that not because I've got woo woo mentality, but because I've witnessed it happening.
mhm,
Like, if I sing
yeah.
about joy, joyful people come to me. If I sing about pain, I will invite people in who have pain and give me pain. It is very simple. It's a simple, and it's a universal law, as they call it. And so I'm making this album about joy because I want joy,
I
and
like that. Yes.
I want love. I mean, it can sound like it's a goth record, but you listen to the lyrics and it'll be just love each other and bring peace to your life. Because honestly,
Mm,
not wanting to go political in any sense, but there is a very little peace and joy amongst people's. There's little optimism, and when I first arrived in America, there was a certain guy getting elected president, and there was so much hope. That's a clue as to who it was in the world about what was going to happen then. And it wasn't
mm,
related to him or his political party. It was related to what was being put out into the world by him and his people. Like, this is hope. Now,
right.
that's something that has been removed from certainly the civil discourse. Hope is not what I'm feeling from this era. And I want hope. I mean, I have hope. I mean, I do. I just think things are a big cycle. It's 40, 50-year cycles within 20-year cycles, And then you have the kalpas, which is 15,000-year cycles. Like, I believe that is real because it's psychology. It's community and civilizational psychology. So it happens in those wheels, and you can see it happening throughout history. So we are in, the age of the Reaper currently, and that is something which doesn't have to occupy your mind, because it's a cycle and you can't avoid it. So you might as well lean towards joy to experience the joy that you want, even in an age which seems hopeless, because it exists. It's the peace that lives within each human being. Like, it lives in, there is a light that cannot be extinguished unless you want it to be, because you make those choices. And so my next song, Easy, it's called, it is probably the most joyful, open-hearted song I've ever written. There's an embedded deep question, existential question in it, and it's got a lot of spiritual values to the song, but it sounds like it doesn't. It sounds like it's just fun. And I really hope it's a hit, because I think it does what I want it to do, and I think the world will be made a shade lighter if somebody listens to it.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. Yeah.
I'll send you a
Yeah.
preview.
Yes, please. I mean, I think that while we are limited sometimes, or so we think, with how we can affect the world, I think the most that we can do is being in the present moment and bringing as much joy or light or love we can to the communities around us in the present.
Sharing it,
Yeah,
like
yeah. And
one
the people
candle.
that are just the people currently in the chat, I was gonna say, are so lovely. We appreciate y'all so much. I'm seeing this wonderful group of people that are just continuing to bring a lot of love and light. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So the two of us dressed so darkly can bring wonderful lightness to people.
One of my favorite music video directors is Floria Sigismondi.
Love her. Closer. She
Yeah.
did Closer.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
she did. Didn't she
Frozen.
work with Bowie? Didn't she work with Bowie?
She did The Stars Are Out Tonight.
Right. And so it's like it's like she has created such dark work, but when you read her interviews, she's so light.
Right.
Um, and I love that. It's like there's a place for the shadow, but then you can still I feel like you can find the healing from the art and the music and then embody light still.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel, we're both sort of entrenched in the goth scene. Is that fair to say about Alice?
Oh yeah.
And because I've written some darker songs that work in those clubs, so the goth scene. I mean, a lot of the people in the goth scene are absolutely wonderful and just have joy all the time. But the way they portray themselves would imply that that's not the case, right? But when you scratch the surface, I mean, I think The Cure is a perfect band to exemplify that, because their hit breakthrough songs are so silly. And I love that you can have this goth band that did the album Pornography doing silly songs like Why Can't I Be You, and making videos.
Uh-oh. I think Julian froze. Are you still there?
Says my computer. Can you see me?
Oh yes, I can see you now. Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay.
Yes.
But I think the juxtaposition of having that aesthetic, whether it be musical or actual aesthetic, and lightness, that making oneself a jester and being silly in a world which is very serious is a very important role. And that's so I would like to be that. And I'm not portraying my silly self. I mainly, save that for Phoebe. But
maybe you're destined for a future children's album. We shall see.
I would love to. She's too old. Well, the children's album I did was the ambient one. But I was actually talking to the organizers of Electric Daisy Carnival about maybe doing a Raffi tribute there. Do you know Raffi? She did the baby beluga in the deep blue sea, swim
No.
so wild. Anyway, he's a huge children's artist. He's an old man, really, like just a regular old guy. And I was just thinking I would love, and I would have to volunteer it, but I would love to do the children's tent and play Raffi songs, because
Oh.
I used to go to my daughter's school, and perform for them with my ukulele. And the joy that children have, it goes away at the teenage years at least. And the joy that a 3-year-old hearing their favorite song has, there's nothing that can beat that. That's not, you being on stage in front of thousands of people, just like vibing and dancing and swimming lasers, just the joy emanating from one child dwarfs that experience. Especially if your own, my own. So Phoebe I used to go to a school. She used to sit on my lap and glower at all the kids, and I used to have to play my ukulele over her head. She was like, "This is my daddy. Don't come near." So funny.
Well, if there are any other questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Again, thank you all so much for spending your time with us, for being such a joy in our community. Julian, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to share your inspiration, your wisdom.
You're most
Um,
welcome. I wouldn't call it wisdom. I'm not that old.
oh, well, I think that everybody has wisdom to offer, you know. I'm sure
Thanks. All
Phoebe
right,
has
fair.
wisdom to offer.
She does. Fair enough. All right, fine.
Yes,
Thank you. You're
yes,
welcome. And
yes.
it's been a real joy. And thank you. I really enjoyed reconnecting with you, Tash, because
Likewise.
I didn't realize you were in LA, and I didn't realize you played piano. So that I'm
Yes.
storing that information. So if I do
Yes,
that big
please.
show, I would, you might get a call.
I would be honored.
Wonderful. All right.
Yes. Isidro says, I must say, I like where your heart is at, Julian. It's very
Well,
sweet.
thank you, Isidro. I try to keep light, and
Oh.
what I say in situations like this may not be my everyday grump.
No, but I first encountered Julian when we played together at the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it was so magical, like seeing like your emulation of Bowie in that context too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a magical experience all around. It's everybody loves Labyrinth clearly and loves Bowie.
Sure. And to beat
Yes,
Jareth at the Labyrinth of Jareth was a pretty great honor, to be honest.
I mean,
I, I
it was
talked
pretty magical.
I talked to Sean about maybe doing it again. I don't know whether this year
Mm.
is going to happen, but I would love to, because now I'm in town, so I would be available. And I mean, I love Sean. He's he's doing something which, I mean, I know he doesn't make any money doing it, and it's a labor of love for everybody, but it is the most magical event I have ever been to. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, every
Oh yeah.
cosplay person in the whole of Hollywood doing their best work in one room, or well, several rooms, but one hotel. So I really hope I'll work with him. I mean, maybe this year. Who knows? I haven't actually
That would be
talked to him.
amazing. Yeah.
Are you playing again?
Not at Labyrinth. We're gonna be playing at the Goth Pride event next month.
Okay.
So here locally, actually in LA. But aside from that, we weren't planning on doing anything until we finished. We're finishing off our live album DVD. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been a work in process, and that's like the last finishing touches of our As Above, So Below album.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah,
That's
so kind
exciting.
of in the cave at the moment.
You're in the process. Are you doing mixes and stuff yourself, or who do you have working on it?
Oh, that's Scott. Scott does all of
Oh,
the producing. Hmm.
the drummer.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
No,
That's
the guitarist.
Oh,
Yes.
guitarist. I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, it's
Yeah.
good to have things in house, isn't it? Because I mean, it's a process. I love working with producers and I love working with mixers, but I also like getting things done. Like, and you have contained control yourself. It's like you can just turn it on at 3 in the morning and tweak. You know.
This is true. Yeah. I mean, it depends. I've worked with different producers and it's so interesting. I love watching the process of it. Especially the producers that work really fast. Like I had an amazing experience with Steve Albini.
Mhm.
And I got to play on an album that he produced. and he's so fast. Like he had his studio so dialed in, and it's all analog,
Right.
that it was like watching him mix. It was like he mixed an entire album basically in one sitting, and it was like,
Right.
wow, you know, watching
Well,
a master.
but once you, I mean, I mean, he's a mics guy, isn't it? It's all mics.
Hmm.
So once you've
Yeah,
got the mic positioning right, you don't need to do any processing. And he
yeah.
had all the right preamps. And I regret because I called him. This is in Chicago, isn't he? He used to
Hmm.
be based. I
Yeah.
called him and he wanted to work on something with me, but I was in Chicago for one day and he didn't have that day free. And I'm like, and
Oh,
then of course he died. So I
yeah.
will never work with Steve Albini, but Doolittle, not Doolittle, sorry, Surfer Rosa alone, PJ Harvey,
Hmm.
like every yeah, and he charged no, it wasn't a rate. He charged studio time, right? Because he realized he was just an engineer, really, but he was one of the greatest producers in the history. So I'm lucky that I've worked with Nick Launay, who is, I
Oh,
would say, as
yes.
close to Steve Albini as you can get these days. I mean,
Mm,
he's a
yeah,
brilliant producer, and
yeah,
I loved working with him, and I would any time because I adore him as a human as well. He's one of my best friends. But yeah, it's been a while since I worked with a producer because it just because I have contained control over everything myself, and I have that process too. I have the right preamp for my bass, my fretless bass. I have the right settings for everything. So same thing, I can turn around. I mean, several of those Bowie songs on Station to Station album, the basic track was recorded for two of them in one day, three times, because I know what I'm doing. I just plug it in, go, plug it in, go, plug it in, go. I don't
hmm,
have to turn up somewhere, dial the sounds in, put things in the right positioning, all that stuff, because everything's here. And although I do miss the process of going in a room and the ceremony of having something to do with other people involved. I mean, that's wonderful sometimes, but also I like the facility of just being able to do it and get it done, one song in a day, you know, from
yeah,
scratch. But
yeah. No, it's definitely different. I think when you're working with well, it depends on the producer, but in the case of Steve Albini, because everything was analog, cut to tape, like there's a pressure where you want to like make sure that you are very prepared. So it's like one take, just
sure.
one take, you know. And I mean, of course, he could cut the tape, which I watched him do,
Right.
which was amazing. But you know, it's like when I think you're in your own studio, you have like kind of like the ability to like meander, and I love the meander
Mm.
time. I love
Yeah,
the ability to just flow and make mistakes and meander, and yeah.
sure. But there's also a lack of cohesion that can come with that. That's something
Mhm.
I've noticed. I mean, several of my records have been constructed like jigsaw pieces, and I've overproduced some of my songs, and I listen back to them now. I'm like, oh my god, I should have just played that in one take and got it so it was a performance, because this sounds like it's been jigsawed together. And then people disagree with me on that, but I'm, of course, you're always hypercritical of your own work. So
It's true. we are we are always our own worst critic. It's very, very true. Yeah. Oh, Isidro asked, what is your favorite song to play on the piano?
favorite song to play on the piano? Well, I really like playing a song called Lady Grinning Soul. I love the song We Are the Dead from the Diamond Dogs album.
Oh,
It's a beautiful one
mm,
to play. And it's really,
yes.
the chords are quite interesting, aren't they? They're cool. And I love Arabesque. I can't remember. It's in E by Debussy. It's one of the most beautiful pieces. It's a and Claire de Lune. Those that's the answer.
Mm. For me, I think, well, the Pathetique Sonata is actually my favorite. It's
Mm.
by Beethoven.
Beethoven.
Yeah, and but the thing that really got me like hooked on piano was Moonlight Sonata. So,
Right, right. Oh no,
yeah.
I love that was one of the first classical piano pieces I learned where I was inspired to learn it because it's
Hmm.
so elegiac, so beautiful, isn't it? It's like it's expansive and dark and it has some it has portent to it.
It does. It does. It's inspired so many of my songs. Absolutely. Um, Well, my dear friends, thank you so much for spending the time with us. And again, Julian, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. It's
Tash,
been
we've only
such a
done two
joy.
and a half hours. Why are you slacking off?
I mean, we can just keep going.
Offline.
Offline, yes, yes.
Well,
Oh,
thank you so
yes,
much.
please.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it. And, it reminds me that I've met so many wonderful people in my life, and I should try and revisit that world because I've been in such an insular space for the last 10 years. So thank you.
Oh, yes, of course. It is funny how we get into our little bubbles of universe, and then it's like little moments that you're like, oh, yes, there's
There's other
wonderful,
things.
yeah, there's other things outside the bubble.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. Well, my Mac's just told me it's going to run out of batteries. So this is a
Oh,
good time to
yes.
sign off.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Tash.
you.
Really appreciate you.
Yes.